All right, hello students. Today it is Mr. Crayer and,
Miss McCorkle, and we're going to be talking about how to make a claim.
or just make a claim, which is a hilarious pun on making it rain. Do you get it, Mr. McCorkle?
I do, but I'm old. All right.
All right, we just want to do a quick recap. You've probably, if you're at this point of claim, if you haven't already, watched the video about the support sandwich and Toulmin's
Stop
argumentation.
this video right now and watch the Toulmin video first if you haven't seen it,
Yeah, if you
okay?
haven't seen this stuff, this should just be a quick recap. And today we're going to talk about is number one, that claim. So it's your debatable or controversial statement. It's your argument that you're going to add to the topic.
Great. Make sure that you find evidence that clearly aligns with the claim. In fact, we're going to talk before or after this about how you should find your evidence first.
Exactly, yeah, and that's exactly where we're going. So even though the claim comes first in the support sandwich here, it's not the first thing that you find. You need to find evidence first, which is usually quotes from the book that you've pulled out as you go along. And then once you have enough evidence, then you can make your claim.
If you don't do that, you can run into a lot of trouble because sometimes you have a claim and evidence that don't work together. And if that's true, you do not have a valid argument. All right. Once you've found your evidence and you've written your claim, then you want to make sure you connect the two with a warrant. In other words, with an explanation that shows how the two work together. All right.
And don't worry, I'm sure we'll make a video for that at some point
That'll
too.
be great.
It'll be
Warrants rock.
awesome. The only thing I want to say here too is make sure that sometimes I see claims are just plot summary instead of actually being an argument. The claim is your words or your arguing or your point that you're trying to make about the text. It's not a simple rehash of what happened before you toss a quote into your paper.
So claim is another word for argument, not for summary.
No.
All right, so this is kind of how you would set up a basic paragraph. Now, not every paragraph doesn't have to look like this, but many paragraphs will. And if you're struggling a little bit with structure, this is a great structure to move back to and to rely on, okay? So you're going to start with the topic sentence, which is a large claim or argument, and then you're going to find three pieces of evidence that prove it, okay? Finally, you're going to transition either to your next paragraph or you're going to write a concluding sentence, which kind of goes back to that same idea that you had in your topic sentence and really finishes the paragraph overall.
All right, awesome. Let's see kind of how this works in play. And then as we talk about proof 1, 2, 3, you should know it as the support sandwich format, which, like we said, not every paragraph is going to look like this, but if you're struggling with organization, this will be the most helpful way for you to understand how to put together a paragraph. So let's say our topic sentence was something like, students should not be required to complete homework. I'm sure it's a
That
famous...
sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I know, right? I would love it if you guys never did any homework. But so now you've made an argument. Well, why should anyone listen to your silly little argument unless you have something to back it up with? So what we need to look at right now is why in the world should students not be required to do their homework? So let me kind of finagle over here. So why should students not be required to complete their homework? Well, you can make three claims out of that to support your overall argument.
So you might say they're kind of reasons why you should not be required to complete homework. And you might want to brainstorm these ahead of time. Or if you were looking at research, and yes, there is actual research out there that says that you should not be doing homework. Don't tell anyone I told you that. You would look at that evidence first, and then you would make these claims based on the evidence that you found. So you might say that students need to enjoy their time outside of school, beyond their academic tasks. You might say that the main reason students fail in classes is not due to their proficiency in that content area, but instead due to poor homework completion grades. Or you might also say students don't have contact with a teacher if they need additional help if they're away from them, so it's better to do that work in class.
All right, great. And so you can already see kind of the relation here that your major claim is that students should not be required to complete homework. But almost to support that, you're going to need to make smaller arguments or claims to back those up. And then also just kind of going along with that too, well, students need to enjoy their time outside of school beyond academic tasks. You're going to need to support that with some evidence. And now you can see the structure kind of slowly falling into place there.
So you need some kind of evidence that shows each one of those pieces. And those could be a study, it could be data, it could be quotes, any one of those things.
Mm-hmm. And then, and don't think, obviously, here's a more convincing argument that I'm sure you're going to love. Students should be required to complete daily homework. And then you'll notice this argument is the opposite of the last one, but you'll see that the claims don't have to be the opposite of the other side as well, that there are multiple claims you could make to support different ideas. So students need to learn time management skills and complete tasks independently. Teachers learn about students' level of understanding through their homework. And then homework allows teachers to cover more material during class time. And these aren't the opposite of the arguments made earlier. Okay?
I definitely want to point out one last thing. Notice that each one of those claims is very different. You want to be very careful that your claims don't repeat or have basically the same idea on them. Sometimes I see students wanting to make 3 claims and they struggle to come up with 3, so they kind of say the same thing twice. They must be different, okay?
And we know we're always watching, constant vigilance. Okay, so good. So hopefully you have a better idea of how those claims kind of come together. We've looked at some examples that are more, I don't know, let's say your life based more so than making that transition all the way to maybe a literary analysis where you need to make a theme based an argument based off a book. So here are 2 examples of thesis statements you might have, and then we'll talk a little bit about what kind of claim you'd make off those.
Okay, so when you're looking at analyzing a book, or in this case we have Mulan, which is a great film. If you haven't seen it, you should.
Go watch it.
You're analyzing, which is still an argument, but you're making an argument, and your argument is based off of what theme you see in it, or it's based off of an evaluation, which is our first one. For our first theme or thesis statement or topic sentence, you could call it, we will say Mulan is the unsurpassed Disney movie because of its humor and unique characters and plot. If I were to use this as a topic sentence or a thesis statement, I might go through and write a claim about its humor and why it's humorous, a claim about its unique characters, love Mulan, and I love our animal friends, and finally its plot. You know, there are a lot of exciting plot twists, especially when they all find out, you know, that she's...
Whoa, spoilers.
Sorry.
Some people might not have seen it.
Never mind with that then, I don't need to go to the evidence place. But you can see how I might break that up into claims.
Right, and it would follow in the same way for the second example as well. In Elie Wiesel's Night, Elie and his father support each other physically and mentally by developing a closer relationship under hard times. And what you can see right here is these 2 thesis statements have some pretty obvious claims already built into them: the humor, unique characters, and plot, and then also physically and mentally. And we don't want to talk about, you know, if this is for an entire essay, that's going to look very different from if you were just to talk about these for one paragraph.
Definitely.
Let's cover this very quickly then. So if you were going to make this into a full paragraph, your major, your major argument is going to be Mulan is the unsurpassed Disney movie, et cetera, et cetera. And then if that's part of your intro, then maybe you have one paragraph about the humor, one paragraph about the unique characters, and one finally for plot. And then so your examples might be 3 different examples of humor. And like Ms. McCorkle said earlier, not one example of humor talked about 3 different times, but 3 different examples.
And each one of those can kind of take on their own little mini claim about that example of humor or about that unique character if we're looking at body paragraph 2. So it kind of all works together. You have one big claim, which is your thesis, and then you have smaller claims, which become your topic sentences, and then underneath those, you have even smaller claims, which are related to each of your examples. So it's all a claim.
There you go. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. If your teacher required you, make sure you fill in the form underneath this video.
Make a claim.
Make it good.